Club, and he was also one of the shakers and movers and shakers of regional Indian student movement called the Southwest Indian Student Coalition, and that was formed after a number of caucuses at the 1972 National Indian Education Association in Seattle, and Kiva Club did a lot of organizing there at the conference and also after the conference with the first meeting of the Southwest Indian Student Coalition. And I spoke about this a little bit at our first talking circle in November of 2010. In any case, that Kiva Club, through the leadership of Larry and Francis, had a tremendous impact both on campus and off campus, and on society in general, in particular the Indian rights movement. And it will be 40 years on March 1st, 2013, that Larry Kassus and Robert McKidenay took a very strong stand for Indian people and against the enemies of Indian people. And in particular, Emmett Garcia, who was named as regent in the early spring of 1973, and he was a terrible person, and there could be volumes written and spoken about his crimes against Indian people, but he was definitely not the right person to name as a UNM board regent. He was unfit and unsuitable. And so Larry and as Kiva Club president and Kiva Club mobilized a very strong, very powerful, multicultural campaign against Emmett Garcia in the spring of 1973, and this is culminated in some direct action on March 1st, 1973, in Gallup, New Mexico, in which Emmett Garcia was kidnapped by Robert and Larry, and they did this as a last desperate move to focus attention on the human rights crimes ongoing by Emmett Garcia against Indian people, Navajo and Indian people. And this was about the same time as the liberation of Wounded Knee in late February of 1973, and there was a powerful movement going on during that time, and this was this action, this direct action, was part of the direct action that was taking place in Gallup, New Mexico, and at Wounded Knee, and it was part of the campaign against the enemies of the people, whether it was Custer, South Dakota, or Gordon, Nebraska, Ajo, Arizona, Farmington, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona. There was a tremendous movement by Indian people, and Larry and Robert were vanguards of this larger continental movement that was going on. And since 1974, Kiva Club has held a number of memorials recognizing and honoring and remembering the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice of Larry Kassus, who was slain during the Emmett Garcia kidnapping. And Larry Kassus was a great leader from fall semester of 1972 to his last actions on March 1st, 1973, and his achievements are often overshadowed by the March 1st, 1973 incident. And we hope to put this into proper perspective. Francis Montoya was an important part of Kiva Club at that time too. He passed away last year, May 8th, 2011, and Robert McKidenay passed away in July 31st, 2009. And in any case, they were great men, and they need to be accorded their part in our history and in our tradition. because they were all Kiva Club members, all Kiva Club leaders. And so on the 40th anniversary of the March 1st, 1973 incident, we hope to have an event. I'm not sure what kind. We can talk about at the talking circle and in subsequent talking circles, but you know, to bring shape and definition to this. But it is part of a tradition that has been ongoing since 1974, and in particular since 2004 to date, almost every year, thanks to the great leadership of Patrick Willick, Leona Morgan, Mario Tencio, Kelly Francisco, Stephanie Salazar, and others that have continued this tradition, so that their legacy and their sacrifice will never be forgotten. So, you know, I wanted to, you know, to talk about that before this talking circle ended, but you know, Leona recommended at our Kiva Club, our second talking circle in April of 2011 that we have the 40th anniversary of Larry DeSuze, and also honor Robert and Francis at the time. In fact, Francis was speaking. He was still alive then. He spoke very passionately in favor of continuing that tradition. And Francis was also instrumental in linking us intergenerationally. He was that indispensable link that brought the generations together. It was only through his through his leadership, I think, and his vision that this tradition is continuing and sponsored appropriately by Kiva Club. So I think Kiva Club does have the responsibility and indeed the obligation to continue this tradition. And that's part of the rich activist tradition of Kiva Club. It goes way back to the early 1950s. And I talked about that again at our first Kiva Club intergenerational talking circle in November of 2010. But I have to go now. I have a prior commitment. I didn't realize it was so late. So that's all I wanted to say at this time. Well, I wanted to say more, but time is a factor. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, John. I'll just talk with the group and see if we can make a committee or something. And then I'll be in touch with you by phone and email.
A planning committee. And I think that, we have, everybody's email list, and we have a listserv, and, and grow.